Hi, I'm Jennifer McGrail. Up next, everything you need to know about last week's government meetings on The Rundown. On Tuesday, October 18th, the South Side Fire Station Committee met to interview two architecture firms for the design and construction of a new fire station. Both Galanti Architecture and Sasio were able to highlight their experience in building municipal buildings through regional examples, including towns such as Dennis, Plymouth, Provincetown, and New Bedford. The final decision came down to how the firms addressed the questions that the South Side Fire Station Committee had previously provided and asked for answers during the interview process. While Galanti impressed the committee with their research into Bourne and the understanding of the project constraints, the overall feeling from the committee was that they rushed through elements in their presentation and that they didn't clearly provide answers to these proposed questions. And in fact, those, according to the committee, were almost glossed over while the Galanti team highlighted other aspects. While they presented an impressive design in the slideshow, some questions were raised about the finished products of the buildings and how they differed from initial design.
We have a responsibility to, we're in discussion. I took a look at, when I was speaking with, and I think that what it may mean is that I need to get some clarification. When I was speaking with the Dennis Fire Chief, who was very complimentary of Ted and his team, he offered to send me his the building plans, and so I took a look at them yesterday, and I found several issues with that building plan that even contradicted what they presented today as far as the importance of hot and cold zones. And they incorporated two elements to the plan that I asked the chief about it, and his answer was no on both of them.
The South Side Fire Station Committee all felt very favorably toward Sasio and Associates, noting that their presentation was clear, the questions that were outlined had specific answers and were given the most priority. The professionalism and overall warmth Sasio team brought to the room was felt, and all the committee members agreed they felt comfortable and that they could have a good working relationship with that group. Both firms presented similar plans for personnel safety, outlining specific hot and cold zones and buffering. Their plans also considered traffic around the buildings and the bridges, and how each had ideas of tailoring a building specific for community needs. Again, the South Side Fire Station Committee felt that Sasio communicated better these considerations and worked to create a better sense of community involvement and engagement at every step of the way. Another highlight from Sasio was the 3D renderings of the projects that will be used during the process, which eliminate hiccups such as clash detection that often occur, creating a need to go back to a contractor. These sort of crossovers do not occur thanks to this software technology.
The 3D renditions, I'm just curious, have you worked with those before and seen them, and how does it work with the public? Is that giving so much information it can bog things down? It sounds awesome when we think that you can go into a building and walk through and show the public, or does it create a big...
I think it's a very useful tool. Very few people can see things three-dimensionally when they look at a one-dimensional drawing. And so the ability to see what's happening in the apparatus bay for even your department, for the public, or the ability to see what a building looks like from a bird's eye view is extremely important when you're presenting these things. And problem solving. Now, to be clear, both firms have that capacity. Sicosio showed you theirs today, but Ted's firm also has the same capacity, and they just chose not to show it today. But I think it's a very, very valuable tool.
The South Station Fire Committee voted unanimously to hire Sasio and Associates. The Select Board also met that evening and supported the decision of the South Side Fire Station Committee.
Earlier this afternoon, the South Side Fire Station Committee interviewed two firms the Grant Group, and Sicasio and Associates Architects. The committee voted to recommend Sicasio and Associates Architects. I'll pass the book on. This is the presentation that was to us earlier today. They were both committee, firms that would be good for us, but the committee felt that Sicasio and Associates was the better fit.
Another big discussion item that evening for the Select Board was the Swish program. Conversation centered around when a transition could take place from the Recreation Department to the Bourne Athletic Association, and if it should take place. Our town administrator, Marlene McCullum, was clear that because the budget was set for FY23, with the Recreation Department providing the program services this winter, that it was out of order to remove the program at this point without having a clear plan and direction of what should take its place.
These are the decisions that happen during budget time, right?
Yep.
And the budget is set for this winter.
Yep.
So this is very much out of order. We're going into building the budget for FY24. And so FY24 for next winter, this is when we have these, I'm sitting down the week of the 28th of November with all of the departments to talk about their goals and their policies and, their goals and their priorities. So I'm happy to fulfill your, to implement your vote to the best of my abilities. However, this was the deal for FY23 budget.
She recommended a transition would not take place until FY24, but understood that the committee might feel differently and a pivot may be able to take place as a one-time special event.
If you want to do that for this winter, I want some guidance and I want some direction on what the priorities are, because to completely kind of scrap the plan for this winter and just leave it up to me and Chris-Ann is not how municipal budgets work, and it's not how any other department works, frankly. So if we're going to pivot like this at this point in late fall, then I think I need more direction.
MJ supported the change if these certain clarifications could be met in time. Ultimately, the concern was changing people's jobs in a very short period of time. And Marlene McCullum, again, our town administrator, recommended that we do not operate in this way, seeing as the Recreation Department employees of 2 are both union employees and have set and fixed operating budgets.
I think the lifeguards was a good example, but not the same, because the lifeguards was a turnback. The funds went unspent because we didn't hire anybody. This staff time are full-time union positions. So it puts me in an uncomfortable position where I'm changing people's jobs on the fly, essentially. So that's my responsibility, and I want to express that to you. We will make it work, but this is really, I don't recommend operating this way, frankly. I don't recommend you operating this way. Not with full-time union employees, not with operating budgets.
Following this lengthy discussion regarding the basketball program and any other sorts of programs that the Recreation Department could ultimately bring to the citizens of Bourne, the Recreation Committee, briefly touched upon their recommendations and findings for the 4th of July parade. The overall consensus by both the Select Board and the Recreation Committee was to look toward the formation of a 501c organization that could spearhead the parade and any other 4th of July activities that the town of Bourne may be interested in.
And I know that in some towns, In a lot of towns, the committee, or not the committee, but the parade folks are, they form a 501c3, and they get organized, and they put a call out to the community. And, you know, it is a beloved parade. And so if there's a call out to the community, you know, if someone, like you have the Gray Gables Gals, they put together a 501c3 to be a fundraiser for, causes around in Bourne. And they were able to do it. Maybe they'd be willing to be a resource to help, get the 501c status. Maybe they'd help out. And so then, once you have that, and you have a couple people or a handful of people who are willing to take that leadership, then put the call out to the community of, okay, we have this organization. Here are all the different types of jobs. If you're interested, please, contact us.
The majority of the discussion that evening did center around those two items. But towards the latter part of the meeting, the select board did discuss with the town administrator the goals that came out of their retreat in August for her through each year. These included highlighting and separating a 5-year capital plan from a 5-year long-term financial plan, investigating and making plans for the IT infrastructure improvements for the town of Bourne, updating policies and procedures, reorganizing the facilities department, and her continued efforts in the CWMP, which is the Comprehensive Waste Management Plan. On Wednesday evening, the Finance Committee met and finalized their positions for the articles at special town meeting taking place on Monday, October 24th. Article 11, which is the Energy Services Contract, ESCO, with the tax-exempt lease through Train, has been carefully discussed and vetted by the Finance Department and our town administrator, and they had a recommendation to move forward with.
There's 7 items being done at the high school. Lighting, envelope, controls, including the unit ventilators, insulation, kitchen, walk-in, freezer, refrigerators, transformers, and roofs. The Bourne Middle School has all of those items except for the roof identified at this point. Again, a future phase, the Bourne Middle School, again, you need to talk about a roof there, but that's also not in this phase. That's a larger conversation. Bourne Intermediate School has controls identified. Bournedale Elementary School has 5 items. The kitchen, walk-in, freezer, refrigerator, insulation, building controls, envelope, and lighting identified. School district's offices has lighting, envelope, and insulation identified. On the town side, we're recommending work at 7 buildings. Fire Station 3 includes lighting, envelope, building controls, dedicated hot water units, and condensing units. Town Hall, at this point, we're only recommending lighting and envelope. Veterans Community Building includes 9 items: lighting, envelope, controls, insulation, boilers, heating and ventilation units, chillers, dedicated hot water units, and condensing units. DPW, we're looking at envelope and insulation. Same for library. Fire Station 1, lighting, envelope, building controls, insulation, and boilers. In this scope, and the archives building, lighting and insulation at this point.
The rest of the meeting proceeded rather smoothly and quickly, and the committee is well prepared going forward for Monday, October 24th's town meeting. As always, all of these meetings are available at bournetv.com. I have included chapter markers there to help you navigate to discussion items that are of most interest to you. If you have any need of help finding these meetings, accessing them, or understanding the chapter markers, please reach out to me directly at jmcgrail@bournetv.com, and I'd be happy to assist you. I hope you have a great week ahead, and I'll see you again on the next edition of The Rundown.